You're listening to Live Wild Radio, the part-time adventure podcast.
Join us as we explore how outdoor adventures build mind, body, and spirit.
Before we get to the show today, we've got our first real partner sponsor, Great Lakes Girya. So Girya is the Russian word for kettlebell. They have kettlebells in stock, which I know is a big issue in a lot of places. Really high quality bells, the Russian hardstyle, that range from as little as 4 kilos up to 96 kilos. Really love the quality. Handles are great. The part that's great is we got you a 5% discount. So if you go to greatlakesgirya.com, if you're here in Canada or in the United States, it's us.greatlakesgirya.com. And use the promo code LiveWild at checkout. You'll get 5% off. And in addition to kettlebells, they have barbells. They have squat racks. They have dumbbells, maces, weighted clubs, chin-up bars, whole collection of gear. So don't forget, if you want to get in shape, don't count on the gyms. They keep having to close. So set your gym up at home now and save some money on it. Today's episode is called Dirtbag Timeshare. And we'll get into explaining why that is. But every year, Catherine and I do a Thanksgiving trip. Mm-hmm. And this is sort of one of those things where a little piece of advice for people. If you work in a job where you can use your vacation, you don't have to use like if you get, say, 2 weeks vacation, where you got to use like whole weeks at a time.
Right.
One of the things that we do is use long weekends and add some vacation days, and it turns it into longer chunks of time, and so you can do those more frequently.
Yeah, and for people who are not in, office jobs, sometimes you may be able to request your weekends in such a way that you get them back to back, like 4 days off in a row. Yes,
and that's because, I think by now everybody knows I work for sale, like the outdoor store, and so I'm working retail.
That's why I date them.
Yeah, for the discount. So one of the things that I'll regularly do is when we do our trips is request the Saturday and Sunday of 1 week as my days off. And then if it's a long weekend, then I get, like, say, the Monday off. And then I request the Tuesday and Wednesday of the following week as my days off. And what I end up with is 5 days off in a row, and I haven't used a single vacation day. Mm-hmm. Right. So
anyway,
it's a trick that we do to get more frequent, longer trips, doing them multiple times a year, like 6, 8, is sort of kind of thing that we aim for.
So we're in a situation where typically we would go down to the Adirondacks. I think that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. Last bunch of years.
Yeah. Last year we went to Gatineau with the kids. This year we were sans kids, mm-hmm. which means we can do more aggressive and adventurous stuff. So we can't, at this point, cross the border by car to the U.S. So we said, hey, we were toying around the idea of Lake Superior, which is pretty far, or Val David, which is just south of Mont Tremblant and north of Montreal, in the Laurentians. We decided to go there. I know the area. I used to go to an ashram for yoga many years ago. And, you're definitely speaking French there. It's a lot of fun. But we decided to go there. But the way we approached it, which I was a little bit, I was hesitant to do, was wing it, mm-hmm. as far as accommodations go. But it was awesome.
Yeah. So basically we did a little bit of research with the idea that once you're kind of like north of Tremblant, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. So worst case scenario, we could find something just a dead end dirt road and basically dirtbag car camp.
Yeah, I got a Honda CRV 2017 used car, and I specifically, when I was shopping for a car, made sure I could get into the trunk, the hatch,
that we could sleep. It's big enough for us to sleep.
Yeah, I looked at it for how much cargo space and is there how could you sleep in this car? Mm-hmm. So, that's one alternative option. But going back to why I was hesitant to do that in Ontario is because there isn't a lot of infrastructure for camping unless you go to Crown Land, which I know one location, but it's just not that popular in Ontario. And if there's a lot of bugs. And so it's unlike the U.S., right? The U.S. has got a ton of it. It's easy to find. Mm-hmm. Here, I just haven't attempted to do it. So I was hesitant. I thought, okay, well, fuck it. We can sleep in the car.
Yeah.
But we also have hammock tents. So it's very easy to, go down a dirt road.
Go off into the forest a little bit and make a camp.
Exactly. Just, camp in, camp out. And it's very easy to set up and whatnot and go to bed. So, yeah. And
so one of the things I'd researched, though, is a place two places. One called the Lac Boisseau, and another called Mont Tremblant, which is Silver Mountain. And based on my research, these are places you pay for, but it's cheap. And they're campgrounds at climbing crags.
So we came back saying, hey, everybody, we got a timeshare.
Yeah.
And then people were like, well, really, where? And we're like, we've got access to a mountain and climbing and hiking. Hey, they do highlining there, too. They've got campsites at the crags.
Yeah. But see, the cool part we ran into, we figured, okay, we'll, go and check it out. Yeah. And we went and checked it out. And so we went in and talked to the nice gentleman, Patrick.
Shout out to Patrick.
And it turns out for $70 a year or $130 a year for a couple, you get unlimited access.
And it's first come. So they have at the one site, Mont Tremblant.
Yeah, 38 campsites.
Yeah, something like that. It's first come, first serve. Apparently in the summer, I don't know if we should give this away. In the summer, you come Friday morning, you've got it. No worries.
Yeah, the weekdays are fine. The weekends are busy.
Yeah, but in terms, it's not oversubscribed, which is huge, right? Because at this point, they're like, yeah, you just come and it's first come, first serve. And how long? What's the maximum amount of time you can stay? It's unlimited.
Yeah, you pay.
What? Yeah.
So there's people that live there for the summer.
They do.
Yeah. Because there's and so that's why we call it our Dirtbag Timeshare.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Obviously we have to share it with other people.
They have washrooms with lights, like they're Johnny on the spots, but they're fairly nice.
Yeah.
Lights, and there's showers. This place is awesome. We call it the Dirtbag Timeshare because of these extra features. But to most people, they still wouldn't want to do it. But as a camper, this is an upgrade. So you've got, and I think the showers are heated.
The one shower's heated and one's cold.
Right. And then they have a sauna.
A wood-fired sauna.
Yeah. And then they have a shower right beside it. So if you want to do with water from the lakes, if you want to do the cold water, hot water, hot sauna, you can do that spa-like treatment all year round. They have at this particular site, they have two cabins. One sleeps 20 people. The other one sleeps 6. The 20 people is a 2-floor. And they have a kitchen.
They're heated.
They're
so
heated.
You can do it
You've got the stove. Right. Unlimited firewood. It's just there. It's amazing. I think it's about 30 years old. Mm-hmm. And the town seems to own it. And it's not for profit run. They've got a gear,
Well, they got a rock and ice climbing school or instructors operate out of there.
Yeah. So all the gear's there. You can rent it.
Yeah, you can rent gear. You can also take classes for both like rock climbing and ice climbing in the winter. They actually make their own ice climbing. They have a system where a couple of the cliffs in the wintertime, they flood them. So you're guaranteed to have good ice to climb.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of them that have a clifftop access with a steel cable running along. So if you want to rig up top ropes, you clip yourself in, and then you can walk out along the top of the cliff safely and rig your top rope for whether it's rock climbing or for ice climbing in the wintertime, which is pretty cool. And they allow highliners, which if you've ever seen a slack line, you know, like we put in the backyard, you know, that's like 2 feet off the ground. A high line is a slack line that is rigged over, you know, between two corners of a cliff or across a canyon, hundreds of feet long.
Now, those lines are not theirs, were they? I think it belonged to the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they allow people to set them up.
Yeah. So these people had 3 of them set up.
Well, that was 3 in the front, and then the bigger canyon in the back, like up on the side of the mountain, or like up on the they had like a 600-foot one set up.
Yeah. They were amazing. Actually, we got it on video.
Yeah, we'll post it.
For quite a while. I think it was like a 2-minute video I took.
Yeah.
Watching the guy. It was fun. I've never seen that before. I've only seen it on TV. But, you know, I think we've given you quite a bit. And I asked them, I said, what is it? What's the cost for kids? Oh, it's free to stay there.
Yeah, if they're under 14.
Is it under 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Like it's just, they're so welcoming. They're so relaxed and cool, like chilled. And he even said that, because I asked about volunteering there, like are there opportunities to volunteer and help? And he's like, oh yeah. And goes, I even sometimes give a bag to people, and if they get them pick up whatever they see, like I'll let them go in for free. Because otherwise, that's a hiker. You pay, I think, $7 per person, and as a climber, you pay $14 a day to access. And it's not, you know, there's so many climbs. How many climbs did you see in the guidebook?
It's about 200.
200. So it's quite a few.
Yeah.
Some are as low as probably, I don't know,
5-0. You know. Like
right, in terms of rating, and they go up as high as 5.
They've got some 513s.
Yeah, but as far as height,
on this particular area, you know, they're like about like the tallest stuff's about 180 feet high.
Yeah, so multi-pitch, right?
You know, not huge.
Slab climbing, it's all granite, of course.
Yeah, there's slab, there's vertical, there's overhangs. Cracks. A lot of granite cracks. You have both bolted sport climbing.
Yes, and trad.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity to do top rope as well.
And a number of the cliffs.
Yeah. They're all anchored.
Yeah, they all have nice bolted anchors.
Yeah.
So cleaning.
You found the sport ones that we were climbing. We only did a few. Were pretty much would sew it up when you clip into it.
Oh yeah.
It was like every 2 feet. You know?
Yeah, like they're modern.
Varies.
They're modern routes.
Yeah.
But like the slab we did the 3rd day.
Right.
The sport one was a little spicy.
It was.
There was one. Wasn't a massive run out, but
it was interesting. I was nervous, and I was on top rope, and. Not that I should be, you know, but for some reason, Chappapon slabs seem easier as far as, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's like 800 feet. But it just seemed easier to climb. This was harder for me. I don't know why. But
but they were harder climbs.
Yeah, it did seem harder as a slab. And definitely harder than what was in Red Rocks that I climbed. Or what we climbed. So... And for us, so that we obviously, if you're listening to this later on, we went in the fall. around our Canadian Thanksgiving, so October 10th to the 14th, something like that. And it had been raining the day before, so we got lucky. When we arrived, we were basically going to climb, I think, the next or that same day, later on in the afternoon, once we knew it dried up a bit. But I'm not sure how tall the mountain is. Do you know? Have a guesstimate?
All told, like, now obviously this isn't the cliff faces for climbing, but they've also got some like really fun rugged hiking routes in there that can take 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I think all told is about 1,000 feet of elevation gain.
Is it? Okay.
Like to get right to the summit.
Yeah. So we did the short hike, facile, easy hike, which is not easy by our standards. Here it would probably be what? Moderate?
Well, we've gotten, I think in Ontario.
Not
like,
climbing, not rock climbing.
No,
I'm
no,
talking
but
about hiking.
Yeah, no, that hike would be considered like an advanced or hard hike for anything we have in Ontario.
Yes.
Because we have nothing like that.
Yeah, because there were some ropes.
Rock scrambling up slabs.
Some narrow, more narrow ledges and nothing major, but it was good. I mean, I would definitely take your hiking poles, more so for the coming down and than anything else. I mean, I people know I have knee problems, so I actually felt it because I haven't done any kind of hiking that conditions my knees as far as like all the little muscles.
Yeah.
And so it really tired my knees out. And in fact, today I went on a weighted hike and I can feel it in my knees now. So that extra pressure impact. But it was fun. It would be a definite fun one to take kids. And I saw a lot of people, hikers with their little Shih Tzus on this particular hike and probably got more than they bargained for. But it was a great way to see the lay of the land.
Yeah.
They had little canyons, big canyons, signage of the rock climbing crags and the crags were fantastic.
Yeah. They have guidebooks, like in a really well-developed guide, like a well-illustrated guidebook for sale right at the campsite.
Yeah.
For $20.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, if they're not there, they just say, you obviously park on the side of the road. Lots of parking. There's no issues with parking.
Yeah, and they even have like an electric vehicle recharging station.
Yeah, and they even have, like, if there's nobody there for camp, to get your admission, and you just email them your address, your license plate number, and then they'll contact you. And then you send them payment by email.
Yeah.
So it's e-transfer, right? There's a lot of the honor system. What was really interesting, I saw some differences right away, and we did a lot of mountain biking, a lot of like outdoor stuff, right? Hardly any litter.
Compared to Ontario.
Oh my God. They truly do take care of their outdoors. And this was a busy place.
Yeah, because
tons of people coming in.
Yeah, because as far as the hikers coming in, especially like Sunday and Monday, like because it was the holiday.
Yeah.
It was just people.
Yeah.
Right. And then, and you could always tell, like there was the hikers, right, that had, they looked equipped properly. The occasional trail runner, because they're in with their little shorts, their Solomon Speed Cross trail running shoes, and their little belts and little packs,
water,
yeah. And then you could see like the people in there with like Nike shoes, like sneakers, and yoga pants, and it's like, have fun on the leaf-covered trails.
Yeah, because it was slippery from having all the rain, but lots of leaves.
And the leaves down.
Yeah.
But the thing, like, back to sort of the dirtbag timeshare idea, the thing that's really cool is you pay for the one location, and you get access to Mont Tremblant, Lac Boisseau, and Mont Gervais. So you got camping at the two, like at the lake and at the mountain. And then you get climbing access at all three.
Yeah, Patrick's the one that developed the Lac Boisseau.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool to chat with him. But, oh yeah, like Winston was like, he was all giddy. He was like Christmas. He's like, you could just see all the light bulbs going off. It's like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, well, and you run into the thing where we camped.
Yeah.
Literally, I could, throw a baseball and hit the cliff.
Yeah, we were probably just 50 feet from the wall. Yeah.
So like our first day of climbing literally was walk over, like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready and it's like, oh, I forgot this. Can you go grab it, Catherine? And literally, it took her a minute to go back and grab a bottle of water or whatever.
Oh yeah. And even the approach from the parking lot, it is a steep climb, but it's probably, I don't know,
100 meters.
100 meters, which is good for you, right? Steep climbs. It was, and actually, if you have a van, a lot of people just slept in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
There's no overnight. Like, and that it's just that mentality. And this is just one place.
Yeah.
And apparently there's not many places like this in Quebec. There's a few others, but, oh, totally. Like you don't even have to pay the membership, but I think it's, you're supporting them. It is great infrastructure, right? This is the cleanest I felt on a camping trip. Didn't shower, right, for 5 days, and I felt fine. Mm-hmm. But they have this amazing hand sanitizer. It smells so.
Yeah, we tried to find it because
we actually went to Walmart and looked for it.
It smelled so like.
It's called Wish.
Yeah, it smelled so good that like I would like dab some on my neck like cologne.
It's like leave it to the fucking French, right? To make things add some perfume to their sanitizer.
Like I'll put it in my armpits. Like I didn't bring deodorant because I'm camping. So
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's like I don't stink.
Yeah, and but like we said, so at each of the campsites, they're all raised. It's like a platform,
like on a platform, and they're
with
flat.
sand,
Yeah.
so it's not hard. And
they all have a picnic table.
Yeah, they all have a picnic table. You can't have a campfire. That's the downside at your campsite. However, the campground has one big communal fire pit that's covered,
and you can cook on it. They supply the firewood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's all protected. So, and there's what's kind of cool is in the sort of central communal area, you run into the thing where there's a bunch of ginormous tarped up areas. Mm-hmm. So if it was raining, you've got like picnic tables.
Oh, yeah, they have a foosball.
Yeah, they had a foosball table like out in the open, under tarp. So if it was raining, you can sit and play foosball.
Yeah, so it's just they thought of everything. And what else? So then you've got the cabins, as we were talking a bit about earlier. One sleeps 20 and the other one sleeps 6. The one that sleeps 20 is right in that area. It's 2-story and heated, it's heated with a wood stove. But it's that one you do pay. For the non-member, it's $35 per person per night. For the member, it's $25 per person per night. And then the other one, same thing, even though it's smaller, but it's more secluded. It's actually very pretty. It's got a very nice view of you're on a cliff of the valley a bit, and then you do have your own fire pit. Yeah. So they have like a kitchen, and then it's just
a wood stove.
Yeah, you sleep right in that one. It's just one room. Yeah,
and it only sleeps 6. So if you've got a couple of friends. Right, you got the thing to yourselves.
Yeah, it's only like a 2-minute walk, 500 meters to the main area. Yeah,
and the Lac Boisseau, what's really cool with it is when you pull in, they have some cabins and that kind of thing that rent the same way. Mm-hmm. But there's like a lake if you want to go canoeing or kayaking.
And you can rent canoes and kayaks, I believe.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a whole pile of campsites along the same idea along the lake shore. And then, you know, it's a 10-minute walk into the cliffs.
Or a 5-minute by boat.
Yeah, if you want to canoe across the lake.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, sounds pretty cool. We were pretty excited. We're already looking at wintertime.
Yeah.
I've never done ice climbing. I think that'd be fun to try. Mm-hmm. The people are pretty chouette. I'm still thinking in French. Pretty cool. That's what that means. Which I love. I love practicing my French, but I just find people are really warmer in Quebec. That's my take.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too that really worked out well for us, because this trip we were mountain biking and rock climbing. So where Mont Tremblant, like the park, is located, we were 10 minutes from Mont Tremblant. And so one day we went into Tremblant, and if you look on Trailforks, and this is for mountain biking, if you look on trailforks.com, and, you know, zoom in and look, one of the places to park, like a trailhead, if you want to call it, is like the visitor center. Mm-hmm. So it's not some like weird off out of the way place or anything. Literally, you park at the visitor center, and there's a bike shop like 2 doors down if you have an issue. Mm-hmm. We get kitted up, and you literally, the trail leaves out of the parking lot.
That was pretty cool, because we actually did come into the resort area. Massive traffic, which means no parking, right? So super easy access. And we were talking about it earlier, like it really is quite impressive. Like we didn't even get to the mountain. We just got to the edge of it. We did go up some hills and but not the Mont Tremblant mountain.
Yeah. We basically got to the outskirts of the resort, and we could have ridden into it. Like there's trails that link into it.
Right. We crossed La Rivière Diable, the Devil River, that Scandinavian Spa is on. But anyways, we just the infrastructure that they have, like the whole city's connected by a trail system.
Yeah, and it's like they've got sort of the pedestrian paved rail trail type things, right? And there's a bunch of those, but all the woods on either side are covered in mountain bike trails.
Yeah.
So there's all the people on the the paved trail.
Yeah.
And we would like come out of the woods and cross it and go back in the woods. Like the trails crisscross, and beautiful quality trails, well maintained, a lot of fun stuff, roots and rocks and rock slabs and bridges and
features,
stunts and jumps and, berms and, just really well built trails.
Yeah. Everybody there in the parking lot had nicer bikes.
Yeah. Like we're the poors.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
can tell that, everybody comes there, is into it.
So that was where we rode the first day. And then, when you look in that area on Trailforks, it's like Val David and Valmorin Municipal Park. Mm-hmm. The mountains are covered in trails that are open for mountain biking.
So they're about a half hour south of Mont Tremblant on your way to Montreal.
Yeah.
And there are these little villages. Honestly, when you drive through it, you relax. Like it's just like the whole area is beautiful, right? But in particular, it's just so quaint because it's very hilly. It's like valleys. Mm-hmm. And the homes are
the Val part of the Val David and the Val Morin.
Yeah. And the homes are just so unique. You see homes with stone towers and just they're old, right? So it
looks like weird little castles and things.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. And it has developed quite a bit since I had been there last, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. They have the rail trail. It's about 180 kilometers called Le Petit Train du Nord.
And it's paved.
And it's
So
paid.
you could do like a if getting dirty mountain biking doesn't suit you, you could do a with your road bike.
Yeah.
Go from one end to the other.
You could rollerblade, heck.
Yeah. But go from like little village to little village and like stay at, bed and breakfasts.
Yeah. There's services to move your luggage along if you don't have bike, touring gear to pack it on. They'll even shuttle you from one end or apart, and then you ride back. So I actually would like to do that. I know that's not your cup of tea, but it's something that I'd probably do either on my own or with a friend. Spend 5 days just as a chilling, relaxing thing. Like I said, I've been to the ashram Camp Shivananda in Valmorin, and it's interesting. They have a lake down there. They too also, by the way, also offer skis for free at their Camp Shivananda. Great food. But anyhow, it's just, I've skied there in the winter, cross country skied on that same trail, the Petit Train Road. And they have like little cafes and restaurants just right on that because they know it's a tourist mecca.
Yeah.
Really good food. So I think it would almost be like I don't know, the equivalent of a spa for.
It's a fitness spa.
It's like a fitness spa, like
where you
cleansing, where you eat well, you relax, you de-stress.
But you're actually getting exercise every day.
But you're not really pushing yourself like anaerobically. Maybe more in endurance if it's longer than you normally ride for, Yeah. I've never done 180 kilometers in a few days. I think the most I've done is 50 mountain biking specifically.
Yeah, which is
or 50 in 1 day rule. But anyways, the point is that it's leisure.
Yeah.
And you go and check out the areas, and there's horseback riding. There's everything. The lake is beautiful if you want to swim in it. It's extremely, extremely relaxing.
Yeah, and there's for basically anybody that's outdoorsy, right? So if you mountain bike, it's a mecca, right? They have a World Cup mountain bike race, both like cross country and downhill races. Tremblant itself. Then Val David. That park there has both, amazing mountain biking, but then also Val David is full of rock, right? So like on Mount Caesar and a few of the other mountains in there have a bunch of big rock faces. So it's like a rock climbing destination as well. So there you do pay to get in, like pay for access, but it's $8 a day. So it's not crazy expensive. And you can get season passes, blah, blah, if you're going to go up all the time. Then where we went a little bit further south.
Yeah, La Belle Neige.
The good snow.
Beautiful snow.
Beautiful snow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And by the way, like you're going to have to assume according to Southwestern Ontario grading for mountain biking, it's harder there. So it's harder there, but they say it's easy or it's moderate. When it's moderate there is like a double black here. So we did La Belle Neige, and it was your hardest mountain biking trail for heart rate.
Yeah. Because it started with 1 kilometer
of ascent,
technical climbing uphill.
And I was
out of the parking lot.
Yeah, so you're like not even warmed up. You're like, holy fuck!
It just went up, because it's not a ski resort, but a ski area.
Yeah,
like it's got so
valleys. Yeah.
So it's a mountain that they downhill ski on. But it's kind of like, if Tremblant's the fancy one with the chalets and the expensive restaurants and, the ski bunnies and, everything. This is kind of the local, ghetto ski area.
Yes.
Right. It's got chair lifts and stuff. But
yeah.
But it's not all fancy foo-foo.
Yeah.
And so it's a thing you run into with, say, from the mountain biking standpoint, you feel you're in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, totally.
Every now and again, you cross like a chairlift or something when we were out there.
Yeah.
You come out of the woods and it's like, oh yeah, I guess we are at a ski resort. But it was one of those things like the easy trails. Anybody who rides like the Hydrocut, Puss Lynch, Kelso, anybody in Ontario that knows those. Adams Run it, the Hydrocut. They label as like a double black, or on Trail Forks it'd be a red.
Yeah.
That's like the intermediate trails here.
Oh yeah. So I've never done that grading before. I think I've just done black. I've done a red, but that was more on rocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you can't go fast there anyway. But oh man, even as like a newer rider, I've been riding for a year now. Great mentorship, so I've probably progressed more than most people, but nevertheless, it was fun. I feel very comfortable going down now. It's the climbs, and the climbs don't scare me. I'm not worried about falling or anything like that. So I feel like I'm in complete control. So you can do all of these. You just don't do the jumps or some of the features, right? Because you're not used to it. Or you try some things like the raised platforms. I tried a couple of those. But there's this one run called Yogi. And it's the hardest run I've ever done. It's not physically demanding. I find I guess the training we've been doing has been great for me. But there's a lot of obstacles. So rocks and roots, and you are climbing up, so you're having to almost like jump your bike,
like over stuff to keep
over
going
stuff, and there's boulders, and it's you definitely picking your lines. And so I actually recorded it. I have a GoPro chest strap with a GoPro on it, so I did record it. We'll share that. I fell on that 2-kilometer trail 4 times. Loss of momentum, right? A couple times I got off the trail, slightly. But it was fine. Twice I wrapped my handlebar into a tree, but I managed to stop right away. Oh yeah. But I was giddy. I was so giddy with, this is so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this.
I think I said that in the video. Like, this is so much fun. I kept saying that over and over again. Well,
the trails, they're just unrelenting.
But they're not defeating.
No, but they're it's one of those things. It's like the challenges just keep coming.
Yeah, but it is doable. It's just practice.
Yeah. But just a lot of times what you'll get with our types of trails is there'll be features, right? And the hard feature is what gets it its grade. But everything between the features isn't really that much.
Oh, this was just nonstop.
Yeah.
Plus we had, because of the time of the year, while in Toronto area, you have a few leaves on the ground. There they have like half the leaves on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit wet. So you're having to contend with that. Not even certain what you're riding over. So you can't go as, full on. But it was a lot of fun. They even had these berms. This one berm was the rock. Like the rock just was shaped like a berm. It was just smooth, and they turned it into that. Yeah,
they built like ramps
in and out of it,
up into the wall ride of like a wall of rock. And the rock was like about 6 feet high.
Yeah,
and then there was the one with the ramps that went up on that giant one that was just, we didn't ride it.
It's probably 10 feet high, and then you could just jump off of it.
Yeah. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like you had to hit it just right, because you had to have a bit of speed to launch, because you can't roll off of it, like front wheel down.
Yeah.
Or you just like smash into the ground.
Like the amount of work that's gone into that particular, I'd be curious if that's like common, but it just seemed like a mountain biking area that wasn't all that busy.
Yeah, because I think it's funny because there was a lot of people in the parking lot.
There were hikers,
but there was a few bike.
There were, yeah.
But
you didn't see them.
Yeah, like we saw that 2 girls,
those 2 older men, 1 person. That's it, like 5 people.
Yeah.
In the 2 hours that we were there, how many kilometers of trails?
Like about 40.
Yeah,
And that's not counting the connector trail that goes to a whole other park. That there was like a black that connected to another park about 1 kilometer away. We didn't even look at that.
Yeah. And it gives you the impression with the way it presented itself in the parking lot with the signage that this wasn't a big mountain biking circuit. It was just a place to go. But it was so impressive what they had.
Yeah, and we didn't even do like obviously because they have like one loop that went out that we didn't do because they had graded it black. Which would
have been fun to just see.
But that was the Quebec Cup.
Yeah.
Like part of the Quebec Cup course. And we didn't even touch that one.
Yeah.
Right? Because if the green and the blue trails
were
what they are.
We're challenging, yeah.
It's like
and fun. Yeah.
I didn't want to I wanted you to have fun, not get over your head where you're just like, fuck this and throw your bike in the woods.
I've never had that. I've never ever had that reaction.
No, that's Hudson's reaction.
Amanda too Hudson actually did it. I've never had that reaction. Even at the beginning, fortunately, our training, I think, and the weight loss has really helped me. I really feel the difference of agility. Mm-hmm. That, this is hard. Had the whole thing had been like a sense like that, I would have been like, okay, I'm done. I just physically can't continue for like more than an hour of this, maybe 45 minutes, probably. That's it. But I kind of just treat it as, hey, this is, and I, even with that hill climb, I'm like, you know what? This is something new. It just, like, I really don't like mountain biking up a hill on sand. Like, who does? Right? Dirt and sand. Like, it's hard, but it's good resistance training, and that's how I kind of just look at it. It's like, you know what? This is what makes a good rider. All the variety of terrain and technical, the features, and so just take it and do it. And even if you suck at it, you'll get better. I did notice that I think when I went to Post Lunch today, my riding progressed because of this trip. So, it's just exposure.
Yeah.
And then we, on our way up, before we came into Quebec, we were just east of Bon Echo, and we did an old traditional mountain biking trail. In other words, no dirt trails. It was just like grass and moss covered rocks. And we were literally, in some cases, bushwhacking.
Yeah, and crossing beaver dams.
And covering like a really questionable beaver dam. We're like, if I was backpacking, I'd be unclipping my backpack. Should I unclip my bladder? Yeah. It's just habit, right?
Yeah, because that's the Shambo Mecca lake trails.
Okay.
So again, these are trails I discovered only on Trail Forks. Like if you check out the All Trails app, they're not on there. They're not on OpenStreetMaps. Like a lot of the other resources that I use to find trails, they're not on any of those. Like it's an interesting story because a guy starting like 35 years ago wanted cross-country ski trails in that area. And any of because it's a chunk of Crown land, and any of the when he would cut trail to ski on, then snowmobiles would come along and wreck it. So he figured if he made his own trails in the woods that were kind of like too inaccessible for snowmobiles, then he would still have his nice trails to ski on. And so he was making the trails in the summer, and I guess at some point figured, hey, wait, it's way easier to get in on a mountain bike. And this is sort of when mountain bikes sort of just started. And, now they're there for people to mountain bike and ski on in the winter.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like a lot of these trails are also for snowshoeing.
Yeah.
You could see the signs for that. It truly is a remarkable place. And it's so great to see that they do share, because I know a lot of people, and they had fat bike trails too. I know in some locations, like, no, this is just mountain biking. And
Yeah. So with the Chambomeka Lake, they specifically ask in the winter only to ski. And they even, like, if you read the description on Trail Forks, like what type of skis to use, you know, so that you don't wreck the trails. But then at Belle Neige, they had like specific
trails for fat biking,
for snowshoeing. You know, so when the winter comes around, it's like, these are your trails that you fat bike on.
Yeah.
These are your trails. Because, you know, if
Otherwise
somebody...
you fuck it up.
Yeah.
For people, right?
You know, so... and it's the same thing at Mont Tremblant. They had like signs marked for snowshoe trails. And so that's that kind of thing, which is pretty cool, right? Like, it's a 4-season. Really, it's only spring that sucks.
Because of all the mud and rain.
Yeah. You know, till it dries out.
It's, you know, the food was okay. I was just going to say, in terms of, I mean, there's always good food if you know where to go. And I don't think we went to the bed. We only ate out twice. Otherwise, we had like peanut butter and sandwiches and
dehydrated meals, like our camping food.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about
the beer was good.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah, because we went to that Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back.
You know,
I make better Caesar salad.
You do. Much better, actually. And then
like tonight, we had a great meal for like $15. You know, and I'm just cheap. Hey, we should probably get more into budget stuff, because like it truly is like, you know, and then there's the value. So basically what we're saying is amazing value.
Yeah. Amazing
amenities, access, location was like, you know, of Mont Tremblant to Tremblant, it's like 15 minutes. So at any point, if you want to go get some beer, go eat out, you know, do something different, whatever, it's there. Which is nice when you're doing a lot of like photography of electronics. Like you can go quickly charge things, and that was actually, we had that nailed down, no problem. So for us, we also found, because of weather, right? Like it was rainy. We had an interesting setup when it was raining in Gatineau. We stayed at the provincial park, where we have 2 hammock tents. We put them on the same trees. And then we
just had one tarp over
One
them.
tarp. So the only thing that gets wet is the tarp. And if you can imagine, and we had it really close to, like, within a couple feet to the hatch of the car. So you could pop the hatch. And, you know, if it's raining, just eat there, change under there, whatever.
Yeah.
You know. But, because I'm trying to remember, it was raining when we left.
Yes.
It wasn't difficult at all.
No.
It was like a misty rain.
It wasn't
Although at one point it was pouring rain quite a bit.
Yeah.
So then we took a break. I'm like, okay, let's go. Yeah, it was pretty quick. So I actually prefer that if you have the option or are thinking about it. Like that was another really interesting feature, was in rain conditions, how easy it was to keep things dry.
Yeah.
And pack up.
And that's where the other thing would be, if you are in a tent, and as long as it's not a giant tent, if you get yourself like some good nylon tarps, like that are pretty big, you could do, instead of over the hammocks like we did, you could do it over your tent, and everything could be packed up. And then the only thing you have that's wet is the tarp itself, right? And you can be outside your tent. And you know, you're not in the rain.
So one of the things that we're going to upgrade is I'm going to get a Thule rooftop cargo carrier. Unfortunately, they're not in right now, and I get the larger XL. What kind?
The Force XT.
XT. That will make a massive difference.
Because
to put
all of our gear can go in the cargo box.
Yeah.
So then the vehicle's open to sleep in. So
we took each a climbing pack, and in my climbing pack I put my cycling clothes and gear as well. And then I had my backpack, which had all my camping gear and clothes. So I kept it. So as you said, like just have everything in systems, you know exactly where it is. And then we had a bin of dry food. We had our bear canisters, which funny enough, there were no bears in these areas. I was like, there was none of the, you know, hang your food or any, like nothing, which, you know, is convenient, but it's also disturbing actually. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. It's like, where'd the animals go?
Yeah. There was raccoons.
In Gatineau, I saw nothing. I didn't even see snakes. Nothing in Mont Tremblant. It's almost creepy.
Yeah, maybe it's just like the people said, too many people around.
It's hard to believe when you have those kind of forests.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm calling it bullshit.
Yeah. You know, there'll be something around.
Yeah.
You know, but it was funny because like on our way up, like the first night we did stop in Gatineau in Quebec. And we found like that they had a spot open in the provincial park.
They had quite a few spots.
Yeah. You know, and so we stayed there, and these two raccoons just doing a tour of the park. Like they did not give a shit. Like, because I was getting our campfire started.
Yeah.
Right. And our food was all in bear canisters, and I think we'd already put it in the car. So, you know, we didn't have any food out or anything.
But they could smell it. No, it was out on the picnic table. They could smell the food.
You know,
they couldn't access it.
But like literally, I don't know. Maybe the one raccoon like came within 5 feet of me, and he's just looking, and it's like, okay, asshole, what are you doing? You know, like I'm talking to him. You know, and it's like, how about you be on your way? And he sort of like goes, oh, okay, and he turns around and he just walks away. You know, and you got the picture of that other one peeking around the tree.
Oh yeah, because I kept coming up to it. It was almost like a dog. It was really cute. I wanted to go pet it. I'm like, I don't think I should pet a raccoon.
No, you know, but it was funny how just the two were walking together. Yeah. You know, just like on a little tour around the park.
Oh yeah, they were pretty brazen. Yeah,
you know,
they didn't care.
Like manage your food, people.
Oh yeah,
you know, but it's funny because Gatineau did have signs up about bears and.
Animal bears too?
Yeah, they had it was bears and raccoons were the two they had on the thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the bears.
You know, put your food in the, you know.
But I am familiar with, because I went to school in Ottawa. Like I remember biking on a bike path, seeing 2 baby cubs.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
People were going to stop and hang out with the cubs. I'm like, no.
That's about the dumbest thing you can do.
I'm like, yeah, they were international students. They didn't know. I'm like, no, you keep riding. Anyway, but yeah, that was kind of interesting how Mont Tremblant area, like, and even in the rural area, like it was just odd. They had signs for deer, but maybe it was the quarries too. Like we were really close to a quarry pit. Yeah. So all the noise, but yeah, no, it's we're excited to go back. We're already looking to go back and, you know, explore some more. It was really a lot of fun how like we would do 2 things in a day, which was different for me. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but you and I haven't done that together. Usually in the past, if we go climbing, we just go climbing. If we go backpacking, we go backpacking. I mean, I guess Utah, we did a bit of both that one trip. Mm-hmm. But every day the one day we hiked and then we climbed. The next day we went mountain biking and then we climbed. Like we always did 2 things, which was really good because rather than spending a lot of time doing just one thing and kind of wearing down your muscles, because you don't do that all the time back to back. Mm-hmm. We did it at a moderate, couple hours of mountain biking, good workout, fun. Yeah. And then go back, have lunch, chill a bit, go climbing. Yeah. And it really just paced it out well and is great for recovery, right? Rather, because you know how if you do something for a long time and then you stop and you do nothing,
you just kind of seize up.
You seize up. Whereas if you're now doing a different activity, you use different muscle groups. So it worked out. Honestly, I felt like it was a wonderful trip. I unplugged right away from work. Mm-hmm. It's been busy. And it was just like, you felt like a kid because we didn't know what the plan. We didn't really have a plan. We had an idea of a couple locations we wanted to check out. Yeah. But we didn't know if we were going to be able to get accommodations or campsites, and that was fun.
You can always find a Walmart parking lot to sleep in.
Good God.
But no, I think obviously if you climb or mountain bike or hike, like these are, you know, for you know, American people that are just across the border, New Hampshire, Vermont. Not that say that, you know, obviously I don't, because obviously in New Hampshire they've got great climbing. And New York, we know obviously between the Gunks and the Dacks, and they've got great climbing too. But, you know, if you want kind of a bit of feeling of exotic, it's very accessible. And then obviously anybody from Ontario, obviously Toronto's like an hour closer than we are, you know, so anybody out of Toronto,
it's going to be about,
it'll be about 6
hours from Toronto.
Yeah.
I would recommend breaking it up, you know, especially as a mountain biker, because it's so easy for us to find a forest and trails.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. We just find trails along the way and then take a break and go.
Yeah. Ride for a bit.
You know, like, you know how it is when you sit in your car for a long time, right? But going back to like going to a place that's a little bit more exotic, like different, there's a lot of, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. Like it's a je ne sais quoi. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's like that rural maple syrup beanie beer, and just enjoy joie de vivre. Like it's that feeling that's just there.
Well, so Catherine speaks French, and, you know, has a like a romance about sort of the whole French culture. So I'll come at it as you know, just the hardcore Anglaise. What I like with Quebec is they have much more of a outdoor culture that is not just the outdoor people, right? And this is something that here in Ontario we can learn, is that there is an integration between stakeholders like local businesses, all of that type of stuff, the governments and the municipalities, the actual like park services, the outdoor groups like the climbing guides and the climbing associations and the mountain bike associations and the velo clubs, you know, the bike clubs, and the outdoor people, right? It's a thing where here in Ontario, like with climbing, other than Halton, which seems to have it, you know, Halton Conservation, which has, you know, Kelso and Rattlesnake and Nemo, and they're they don't have camping or anything like that, but accessibility is pretty good. Outside of that, you know, you run into the thing where like Devil's Glen was closed this year. Lion's Head has poor accessibility. There's no parking. Like the locals and the local municipality doesn't really seem to support climbing, right? There's no camping in the area. So you have this beautiful resource, but not all the levels. Like the locals don't want climbers there. Like the municipality isn't really supporting it.
They're not into it themselves.
No, but I think there's probably like a lot of the local French government people aren't into it themselves, you know, but there's just sort of a thing where it all ties together. And that's sort of a thing that we seem to be missing here in Ontario. Like the fact that you can't rock climb other than Bon Echo, which kind of got grandfathered in, you can't rock climb at any of our provincial parks, right? Like it's a banned activity. you don't see mountain biking's improved, because obviously Turkey Point Provincial Park, you've got the mountain bike trails in there now. So mountain biking's improving. It's a lot better than it used to be. But a lot of that development is all local. But the fact is camping is still an issue, right? You don't have
with the Bruce Trail.
Yeah, the fact
that bullshit.
Yeah, you have a trail that's 900 kilometers long that you can't legally camp on. You're
just supposed to section hike it.
Yeah.
And even that, there's places that there aren't, like in fucking Tobermory, you can't even get an Uber. Like if you go and, do a section of the Bruce Trail.
You've got no way to get back to your car. So it's a big production to do it. Like you have to have two people with cars.
Like that's just ridiculous. Like why people aren't, that's a business to be made.
Yeah.
A shuttle service.
Yeah, but even just down to the thing of like having like the huts and like designated campsites all along the trail like they have on the Appalachian Trail. Right?
Oh yeah. The lean-tos.
Yeah.
Why not? There seems to be more of a conservative feeling, attitude in general. I will speak to everything, like not just outdoors, but in general. I remember when I was in Belgium and coming back, it's like, wow, people are so uptight here. Rules about everything, It's like, no, you can't do that. Or it's like, or the fear of something, And I think too, we have a lot of land, but people are very, that's my land, versus it's our land and we just naturally share it. So I felt a very much of a, even in the very rural areas where they didn't speak English and my French was, I was trying to understand them. They're very much welcome.
Yeah, and I think there's that issue of whether it's a concern of liability or because it seems to be a thing that we found in Quebec. It's like you have some rock walls. Well, of course they're open for climbing. This area makes sense to build trails. So yes, they're open for riding, and obviously some things might be like you pay for access because, it costs money to maintain these things. But all of them are very reasonable, like $8 a day for Val de Vide, with the sheer number of trails and climbs that are there. That's perfectly reasonable. Same thing where we were staying.
What, Camp Fortune at the ski resort is like what, $6
$7 a day. Ride there.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful trails.
It's on the honor system or something like that.
Yeah. So having these different places where there's there's a lot of free stuff. But with certain areas, it's pay to play. But it's perfectly reasonable. It's not exorbitant. Whereas like to climb at Bon Echo is $25 a day. And, it's not an accessible, like they haven't.
And that doesn't even include the canoe that you're going to need.
Yeah. Like they haven't set it up
to access it.
To be
from the water.
Friendly, as far as inviting for people.
No.
Right. Whereas everywhere we went was, easy to get to.
Free for kids. It's like, oh, you got kids? Yeah, bring them.
Yeah. It's well signed. The prices, the stuff you do pay for, access wise is quite reasonable. Right. So like it's a perfectly reasonable, kind of accessible area. Right. And we're just scratching the surface, right? Because we're just sort of in the Tremblant area.
Oh, yeah. There's Saguenay, just near
and
Quebec
Charleroi and
near Quebec City.
You know,
There's some massive fjords there that you can do some big wall climbing.
and there's backpacking
There's
trips around it.
what's that called?
Via Ferrata.
Via Ferrata. That's like amazing. Pretty like high exposure. I think you're like over 1,000 feet up, and that guy was tightrope walking essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're harnessed in, obviously, right? And you can drag your harness on the one above it and just walk across, but you're essentially on a wire.
Yeah. Like Via Ferrata is like Italian for Iron Way. And it basically gives you the exposure of rock climbing without having to know how to rock climb. They've built cables and anchors into the side of a cliff. And there's like steel rungs and that type of thing. So it's physically demanding in the sense of like, you know, you're climbing these ladders and crossing bridges and that type of thing. But you're always like, you have 2 lanyards and you're clipping as you go. So you're never in any real danger of a big fall or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you get that exposure of rock climbing.
You can hang there and just,
you know,
always make sure you're clipped.
Yeah. But you get the exposure of rock climbing without having to know all the safety and, you know, do all the safety stuff yourself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a neat, it's not cheap.
No, but it's thrilling.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to do that tightrope. Oh man, I think I'd probably cry.
Yeah, but you do it.
So there was a moment where we were slab wall climbing, and it's not hard, but it's all in my head, right? Because this is my first time out this season. Last year, it was like a year ago.
Yeah,
because I climbed, right?
Because COVID kind of gets in the way of everything.
Well, I also had some injuries, so in terms of indoor climbing and stuff, hand and elbow. Anyway, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. He's like, do you want to do it? No. He goes, I thought you would. Yes. He's just constantly, I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm easily persuaded.
And you did it.
I did do it. I didn't want to do it, but then I did it. It's all in your head, right? But, which is why I like the mountain biking so much. It feels so much safer, even though it's probably not, because so many more crashes.
Yeah.
But I haven't, knock on wood.
None of them have been like massive wipeouts. It's like bumps and bruises.
Yeah, I just had a raspberry. I got to put something on this raspberry because it's...
Yeah, you scraped
I haven't cleaned it and it's hurting, so I think it's infected.
Yeah, you just scraped your elbow against a rock. Because when you should have like...
I've fallen off that platform. My bike was still on it.
You fell over
sideways. We have a funny picture. It looks like I'm coming on to whoever I'm looking at. Like I'm like, hello.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's the thing. Your feet were still on your bike, but you'd fallen over. It was just the rock that kept you from falling off of the bridge.
It was only like 3 feet high, but still, yeah. Anyway, it was a lot of good fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. Definitely want to go back.
Yeah, we will, because we have a timeshare now.
We do.
Yeah. So for anybody who wants like more details, we're going to put like a lot of, we'll put links in the show notes. And I'm in the process. I'm writing about the best mountain biking around there right now. I started writing that this morning. And then we're going to write about the different camp areas and, all the guidelines and rules and all that kind of thing of like how to do it. Going to write about the climbing areas.
Yeah, we'll do a trip agenda on this one, like the route that we did and some photos to give you an idea. But truly it was loads of fun.
Yeah, and for us, it's the same distance away or time as it takes to get to the Adirondacks in New York.
See, the Adirondacks doesn't have mountain biking trails.
No.
Which I don't even know if I'd want to bike on their mountains anyway.
No. But the thing...
but nevertheless, they should.
They've got... it's just trickier. The terrain...
it's pretty rugged.
So it's finding other areas, maybe not in the high peaks...
Saranac.
To develop mountain bike trails. because New York's got a ton of mountain bike trails. They just don't happen to be in the High Peaks region. But what you'll run into, like the DACs are great for backpacking and rock climbing. The area we were in is great for climbing and mountain biking. It's not as good for backpacking, right? So it's just everybody's got its flavor. Great hiking, but again, it's too commercial for like big backpacking. That's going to be a little further off in Quebec.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's plenty of it there. So, like all I can say though is like, finding places where, as an outdoors enthusiast, you've got like a 4-season playground that's really affordable.
And don't get us wrong, like Mont Tremblant area is expensive, but to still have access to the playground. As you just said, that is affordable, and that's why we call it the Dirtbag Timeshare.
Yeah, because obviously, if you go rent a chalet at Tremblant, right? Like I said, it's a high end, world renowned ski resort. They're not cheap, but you get into some of these other little areas, because for us, it's like camping's fun. So having accessible camping combined with all of our activities is pretty badass. So, yeah. So hopefully some of you people will go check it out, check out all the details, and...
Sure. Excuse me. We showed you ours. You show us yours.
Yeah.
Tell us where, tell us your gems.
Yeah.
Please.
Because
I don't know, I kind of debated, do we really want to share this?
It's like, but that's...
I did ask Patrick, I'm like, do you want more people to come here or no? Just asking.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
like, yeah.
It's like, so there's just something like, and bear in mind, like this is not a fancy resort. You're camping, you're pooping in a well done outhouse.
It has lights though, and really good smelling
hand sanitizer.
And they stocked the toilet paper.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just like if you're so used to camping and backcountry camping, and I'm talking backcountry, not car camping.
Yeah.
This is an upgrade.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. And
nice.
So we'll in the future as we go back, because we're going to be going back in the winter. We'll let you know how that is. We may end up getting ourselves fat bikes this winter.
Yes.
It'll be...
You're thinking about it too?
Well, obviously if you get one, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, these are sort of our musings about our most recent trip, and we do these things to open doors for all of you guys. It's kind of like our public service.
There you go.
All
right, Winston. Work hard.
Play dirty.
Bye.